Hello and welcome back to the Bobby and Beardy Show. There are time codes below should you wish to jump around, and here is your classic plug that we're on Spotify if you want to listen to us, or if you're on Spotify, you can watch us on YouTube. My goodness, I'm giving you so many options. I'm giving you two options, and quite frankly, that's too many options. I'm Bobby, and I'm joined as ever by McBeardy. McBeardy, hello. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm putting on a very brave face. We discussed I am not maybe as well as I could be. That may be a common trend in this, we may have noticed. No, I'm good. I'm just feeling a bit rough, but I've been doing gardening work all day. Well, a little bit of the day. I say all day, a little bit of the day.
Doesn't feel well, still does gardening all day, because he can't back out of a commitment to save his life.
That's the right thing to do.
No, it's not, you fool. Lay in bed once in a while, for God's sake.
I intend to after this. I've got some food in the oven, and I'm going to have a little cuddle on the sofa, and it'll be very, very nice. Maybe watching another film. Who knows? Other than that, yeah, I can't complain. Work's been going good. Recovered from all the wedding stuff. Like
his liver's fine, everybody.
Although my other half sister's just got engaged, so more wedding planning stuff now. So there's always weddings everywhere all the time.
As a married man, I'm glad for all this wedding nonsense to be mostly behind me at this point.
That's the only reason you got married, to get the nonsense gone.
Yeah, I didn't want any more nonsense. I was like, right, let's just get this done. Yeah, I'm in the middle of a bathroom refit. I'm not doing any of it. Obviously, I've hired some actual professionals who know how to use a drill. So literally halfway mark. I know how to use a drill, by the way. That was a joke. I do DIY,
no,
just not on this scale.
He doesn't know.
Hopefully that'll be finished by Friday. It's going fine. It's going well. Also, Amy's making me watch the first season of Bridgerton. And then she'll also make me watch the second and third as well.
All right, so only half of the third season out. It's actually not bad. Watch it. It's pretty good.
Well, the only complaint I have about Bridgerton, season 1 so far, is I was convinced by the speculation online that there were just butts and boobs all over the place. And to be honest, there aren't. So I don't know what everyone was getting all so excited about. It's fine. I've enjoyed it. We're on, I don't know, episodes. We've done 6 or 8 episodes, so we'll wrap that up today or tomorrow. So it's all right.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any other films. Sorry, mate?
No, okay. I was going to say, Tegan's trying to get me to watch the Princess Charlotte or Queen Charlotte spin-off thing. Season 1 and 2 of Bridgerton are fine. Season 3, they kind of changed their showrunner, and it's not as... It feels weird, and the costume designing is different. As a plug, one of Tegan's friends she went to uni with, I think, or just knows, did costume design on the second season. Very, very cool. We went to see them in Edinburgh. When we were up to see, when we almost ran into you, it was Edinburgh.
I was avoiding you. We were in Edinburgh at the same time, and Beardy sent me a message going, I'm in Edinburgh.
You were too busy sneaking knives into Parliament.
No. Listen, you sneak one knife into Parliament and suddenly you've got a reputation. Shall we talk about Bad Boys, Ride or Die?
We must. We're the bad boys, right?
Obviously.
What are we going to do?
Honestly, I haven't really made a list of what I'm going to do. So hopefully they sing about it like they do in every movie.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Here we go, here's the rundown. Bad Boys Ride or Die is the 4th installment of the Bad Boys series of buddy cop action comedy films starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence as Detective Mike Lowry and Detective Marcus Burnett. This is a sequel to Bad Boys for Life, which came out in 2020, pre-COVID. It came out in January. It did all right. Side note, I was going to save this for later, but I cannot. You're going to make a 4th film. You don't save the Bad Boys for Life for the 4th film, but you name the 3rd film that? Are you stupid?
Yeah.
What are you drinking stupid juice? What the heck, people? Oh,
I think they were.
It's just nonsense. Also, like the 3rd one, it was after like almost 20 years. The last one was 2003, I think, was Bad Boys 2, so like 17 years. And then Ride or Die is like the thing they say, so it's like the perfect thing to bring it back, and then they can have Bad Boys for Life for this one.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
Yeah.
Like the previous film, this was directed by the directing duo of Adil and Bilal, and written by Chris Bremer and Will Beal. Alongside Smith and Lawrence, the film also features Joe Oh, bloody hell, every time. Why do I'm going to make you read the names next time. Joe
Please, yeah.
Pantoliano, Vanessa Hudgens, Alexander
Pantoliano.
Shut up. No, I appreciate it. Paula Nunes, Jacob Scipio, And of course, the most legendary of all, DJ Khaled. They're all reprising their roles from the previous film, which I have seen, by the way, but I completely forgot that DJ Khaled was in that film. And when he turned up in this one as clearly a returning character, I was like, oh, for God's sake. Tasha Smith takes over the role of Teresa Burnett, who is Lawrence's wife in the film, from Teresa Randall, who played the character in the previous films. And new cast members include Eric Dane, Ewan Goodford, Rhea Seaborn, Melanie Lipbird, and Tiffany Haddish, whose name rhymes with radish. Coincidence? Yes. Here's a fun fact for you. This was distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing, and then they have like all the sub. It's confusing. And surprisingly, Bad Boys for Life is Sony Pictures Releasing's 19th highest grossing movie ever in North America. It doesn't make the top 25 worldwide, though, unsurprisingly. McBeardy, here's a quick question for you. Do you know what the 25th highest grossing Sony Pictures release film is in North America only?
That's a very specific request. Can I get some clues?
No, it's another Will Smith property. It's Hitch.
Okay.
He's actually there quite a few times because there's Men in Black various versions on both the worldwide and North America list. So he's, Will Smith and Sony, they get on. The UK release date for Bad Boys Ride or Die was the 5th of June. On a budget of 100 mil. The worldwide box office, when I looked earlier, I can't see it properly yet, but by most of the counts I looked at, it's doing okay. And Bad Boys for Life, the third film, performed better than expected and made 426 million on a budget of 90 million. So just a 10 million more on the budget. Will it do better? Who's to know? I have seen some review bombing because of people who are furious about Will Smith's famous Oscar slap on Chris Rock. My advice is for people just to get over it, people. Honestly. Yeah. Just I don't care if you love Will Smith or you hate Will Smith. To be honest with you, I'm kind of just seeing this because I thought it might be a bit of a car crash and we could talk about it, and it's the only film out at the moment. But really, if you hate Will Smith because he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, spend your time better. What are you doing bombarding reviews for a film that wasn't barely even out across the world? You're only on Earth so long, people. Just come on.
This isn't the way I want to look at the world, but also there are so many worse things that happen in Hollywood every day.
Yes.
Maybe focus on one of those things.
A man who is under a lot of pressure makes a very stupid and aggressive mistake. Idiot. But come on, like you say, there's so much worse in the world, and we're focusing on this. Yeah. Just let it go. Stop letting it eat you. You're not Chris Rock, people, unless it's just Chris Rock doing it, in which case, fair enough, mate. You spend your time.
Fair play to him,
but I tell you what, Beardy, I've forgotten what the story is of Bad Boys Ride or Die. Can you let me know?
Well, there's these two boys. I've heard they're pretty bad. You have Mike and Marcus. They obviously returned back in the role. It's following on from the third film, and
which you've definitely seen.
Well, unfortunately, I pride myself on watching all the films before I do any reviews, and I have not seen the third one, so shut up. So obviously the captain is dead, and the cartel, the big bad cartel that's in all of this, are besmirching his name, pinning sort of a lot of previous events on him, and the bad boys can't let this stand. So they look to exonerate him. Obviously, the captain's daughter's in this, and she's not so fond of Mike's son, which we learned out in the previous film. So there's no spoilers there. So there's no love lost there. It's kind of very complicated, and it's just trying to piece together what's happened to pin all of these previous actions on their captain. That's the really easy rundown of it. There are some deeper things, like Marcus has a bit of a crisis of health and mental state, as does Mike actually in this when it comes to mental health. Actually, they bring this in. So those kind of are big plot points that drive the story forward. But I don't want to say too much more in case it counts as spoilers.
I've seen the third one, everybody. Don't worry. It's like the opposite of the horror movie reviews we do, where I've actually seen the movies.
I watch horror films. You watch horrifically bad films.
Whoa. First of all, I actually quite enjoyed this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, I was talking about number 3. I was talking about number 3.
Okay, well, first of all, this is a lot better than Ride or Die, which is a film. No, this is Ride or Die.
Yep.
Bad Boys for Life.
For Life, that was 3.
This is my exact point, people. Bad Boys Ride or Die is a lot better than Bad Boy for Life, which is a film I can barely remember, but I have seen it. But I know when I was watching this most recent one that I enjoyed it more. So, like I said in the intro, I was kind of expecting it to be a bit of a car crash, and I've been, this is pretty good. I'm laughing when I think I'm supposed to be laughing.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the action's all right. Shot quite well. I'll go into some more details. What I will say is I could have sworn, I would have bet money on it, that Michael Bay directed Bad Boys for Life and Ride or Die. No, hasn't. He's got a fun little cameo, but yeah, he's not doing it. It's just not.
Well, before we push on too much further, obviously he stopped doing it after Bad Boys 2. You mentioned his fun little cameo. I'm assuming you know exactly when this is in this film.
When this is?
It's not a spoiler. You can. Do you know it?
His yeah, when Marcus is crossing the road and he's in the sports car.
Yes.
What? I was like, this is such an obvious, but blatantly Michael Bay. He's right. It's like Stan Lee cameos in Marvel. It's like, well, that's Michael Bay.
Is it his only cameo in this franchise?
I don't know or care. Probably. Is it? Do you know?
He was also in Bad Boys 2.
Oh, brilliant. Is he the same character? Do we know?
Honestly, I don't know if there's any way to tell if he's the same character.
I want a 2-hour special on Paramount Plus. I don't care where it goes.
Just following him around.
Yeah, same character.
Running into the bad boys all the
time. Yeah, so I didn't know this wasn't directed by Michael Bay. The new director.
It's very kaboomy.
And Bilal kind of take his stuff, his style, and continue it over so convincingly that I didn't notice until after the movie. So yeah. Also, Bad Boys 2 in my head is well over 3 hours long, but it's only 2.5. But it feels so much longer. These films are just over and just under 2 hours, which is a lot nicer. And they feel quicker as well. So, you know, if you've only seen Bad Boys 2 and you're like, this is okay, but it's too long, I would say these are better because they're shorter. So,
yeah.
Yeah, like I say, I can barely remember the last one, but Will Smith meets his son, who's Mexican. His son, I'm going to do spoilers because that film came out in 2020. His son killed the captain, and some people hate him because of that. Will Smith is just trying to see the best in this son he didn't know about, and it kind of results in some of the aspects of this movie as well. Also, totally forgot that Vanessa Hudgens was in this film and this franchise. She just walked on the screen. I'm like, is that Vanessa? Oh, was she? Okay.
Do you want to know when I realised Vanessa Hudgens was in this film?
When you was it the credits?
No, 40 minutes ago.
Oh, you were on Wikipedia, and you're like, oh, Vanessa Hudgens. Who was she playing? Oh, I see.
Yeah. Honestly, I saw her on screen. It's like, oh, that's a person. Cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, no. What I will say to this film's credit or disservice, depending on how you like characters to be introduced or reintroduced, anyone returning from the previous films is just there and doing what they were doing. So if you don't remember that or barely remember that, they're not going to hold your hand about it. They're like, yeah, this is a character, just deal with it.
I actually really enjoy that, and it works in my favour most of the time because I watch every film, except for the fact I didn't watch the prequel, and now I have no idea. Luckily, I did watch a little bit of a recap just before we went in, so I did have an idea. But yeah, not my finest moment.
I spent some quite a few moments in this film, off and on, just going, what did happen in the last movie? It's like they're talking about stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that rings a slight bell. Like, yeah, okay. What I will say is it did actually take me a little bit of a while to get like into this film. I found it quite awkward at the start, watching them kind of do the same thing, like so many years after the franchise started. But
yeah,
it did grow on me. And I did quite enjoy it, like I say, and there is a lot of comedy which works, and we weren't the only people in the cinema chuckling along to the shenanigans. Most of that is through Martin Lawrence's character. As you'd expect, he has this isn't, I put it in the spoiler section, but it's not a spoiler section really. He has a kind of he has a near-death experience that it kind of changes his outlook on life, and a lot of the comedy is driven from that. And just, basically from that moment on, the film kind of like starts to find its feet. Like the early couple of minutes is where I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, it was a weird. Again, it shows it in the trailers. There's a weird cold open where you kind of just start. They're in the car. Marcus needs to stop because he's feeling a bit rough. And to be honest, the scene is quite well done. It fits in with the comedy of the previous films. But it was kind of weird. And then, can I talk about what they're going to? Is that part of a spoilery thing? I don't think it is. It's in the first 5 minutes.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah. So it turns out they're both going towards Mike's wedding. And then the wedding scene felt a bit weird and a bit forced, and the dancing scene was a bit. I didn't like the beginning of this film at all. It felt very weird, and then obviously the near-death experience, the heart attack he has, and then his little existential cutting through galaxies, and then ending up on a beach talking to the captain and a parrot. Like it was weird.
Yeah,
not my favorite start to a movie. It happened. It did happen.
It does. It finds its feet. Everyone starts to settle into their roles a bit better. The comedy starts to pick up as a result of the near-death experience and things like that as well. So I think it's quite an amusing film. I can barely remember the previous one. I think I found it funnier as well. I think I do genuinely think this is a better film than the third one. I also really quite enjoyed how it was shot. I enjoyed the look of the movie for the most part. And before you interrupt, what I just want to add is that I don't normally like Michael Bay's style of cinematography, which they've kind of taken. Like Bad Boys. One of the reasons why Bad Boys 2 is so long is because they spend so long circling them with slow motion camera shots, and I'm not really a fan of that. Transformers kind of has the same sort of thing. But
yes,
for the most part, I enjoyed this, and I think one of the reasons is because so many films just kind of look the same these days. So it was kind of nice to see something different, even if I didn't love all of it.
Okay, can we focus on cinematography for a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I liked the elevator scene where it keeps kind of spinning around over the top and around the side whilst they're fighting. Again, I don't want to say too much because it is kind of a spoilery thing, but I liked the way that was recorded. It was really well done. Added different aspects to, I don't know, the trauma of the event, I guess. I liked the final shootout scene. Obviously, everyone knows these sort of things always end up on someone's hunkered into a base. We need to get inside. And sort of the drone shots as it went around, I kind of enjoyed that as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
My personal favourite, and I don't know if I've sent you this, there's a section where there's like a POV shot from Will Smith, and it keeps cutting forward so you can see his gun, then back to him. There is some really clever rigging, which I actually think they used with the Venice camera for this, which is one of Sony's cameras.
There's some behind the scenes footage, which has been part of the marketing campaign, and you can see they're filming Will Smith using the rigging to switch it from POV. Of him pointing the gun, and then he kind of it swings
sort
round,
like vlog style,
and it's him on his face, like in the middle of the shootout. So that's what you're talking about.
It was really it was really well done. It works fantastically well. I actually really enjoyed how it looked in the movie. I didn't know how it would work from it. But my question is, you didn't like some of the weirder shots, like the body cam stuff from Challengers?
Yep.
What the hell?
No, because that's actually one of the scenes I didn't like in this film. Because I don't,
fair enough.
I don't like. I found the behind the scenes stuff fascinating, and the technology and the rigging to use, I found it brilliant.
Yep.
What I don't like in films is when I watch 90% of it and then it decides to do a first person shot thing. And this is kind of in the middle because it's kind of switching like back and forth. So it's kind of half
acceptable,
just about. But honestly, I'd still prefer it if it wasn't in there, because I kind of like if you set it up from the start that's how a film's going to be shot, and it's going to be first person or body cam stuff, then that's absolutely fine for me. But if I'm watching like a performance as a in the third person, just watching people on a screen, and then suddenly I'm their eyes. I'm like, it doesn't work for me. I like a lot of the other camera shots though. There's a lot of close-ups and angles and colors, and they go to an art gallery at one point. There's a bit of shenanigans there, and there's some nice things there too, and there's some nice drive. The driving is around where he does a nice spin at the very start. It's well shot. I do enjoy it, but I think mostly because I'm sick of other films looking identical.
Yeah, there are sometimes like in the art scene section where Marcus has obviously just come back off of his near-death experience, and he's really just loving life and everything's fantastic, and he really wants some snacks. And there's the point where like some Skittles get thrown up in the air, and that slow-mo scene I wasn't a big fan of. Like even the fact that the red Skittle gets knocked away and the black one falls into his mouth and he doesn't like it because no one likes black Skittles. I love black Skittles.
Yeah, that was one of the main jokes. Now that you mention it, that I remember going, "Oh, what is this?"
Yeah, it was weird. I also don't like that. Like there's little lava lamps in that that whole thing, and for some reason when they get out, they've been looked like someone's just thrown paint at them, rather than like it didn't really track fully.
Yeah, I was wondering if someone had been shooting them with like paint guns or something. I was like, were the bad guys using paint guns? What's happening here?
No, there was some parts of this film that I really liked. They did try to keep similar to the original sort of 1995, 2003 elements to it, which I quite liked. I think some of the comedy between the main two, the conversational stuff, it worked better for me in the earlier films. Some of it did seem a little bit more forced. Some of the references to Marcus's near-death experience and the whole donkey thing with Will Smith. It's a cheap laugh. Going back to it worked every time because it's a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
I also didn't like. I use this in almost all of our podcasts, but they kind of crowbarred bits in, like the cameos. Michael Bay again, I didn't mind that coming back in. DJ Khaled, obviously at the time I didn't know he had a reason to be there. He was just DJ Khaled for me for some reason. But there was also that guy from TikTok that randomly like.
Was that in the when a lady says she's going to call the police and. Yeah.
So when he's just walked across they're pointing guns at each other, and the guy who did the whole like don't do things too stupid, do it simply. Like I can't remember his name. He's got a contract with Boss now.
I don't know. I know who he is, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he just comes up on the screen, and goes, which is kind of his trademark thing.
Yeah.
And why? Like, don't get me wrong. Again, I think in the pre-advertising for this, there was a section where he did a thing with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. So I think that may be part of it. Again, it's just a viral ad campaign, I think. Because there's a point where they're trying to break down a door and he just comes up, unlocks it, and opens it. So
that sounds funnier than the bit we actually saw in the film.
100%, yes. Yeah.
So
sorry, tangent.
Basically, to summarize my point, I think I enjoyed it because it's now different, because a lot of films aren't shot like that, and a lot of fight scenes do look very similar, and I enjoyed it. Do I have that much more to say without spoilers?
I need spoilers now.
All right, let's go straight into spoilers. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Do you want to know what I get?
Yeah, I'd love to know. Otherwise, you're going to give it a thumbs down.
It's a thumbs down.
Oh no!
I understand what they were trying to do, and there's parts of it I really liked. The tech for some of the shots is brilliant for me, but obviously I haven't seen 3. I have to watch 3, but it just doesn't feel like a Bad Boys movie. But that's because I've come from 1 and 2. This instantly just doesn't, like, maybe if I'd seen 3 and it lowered the bar, this would be good again. But because I've come from 2 that I actually quite liked and a better memory of them, I didn't like this.
I think the fact you've missed 3 and you've kind of you've missed some story beats that I could barely remember myself having seen it. I think 3 was fine, I recall, but not very good, and that this is better. Hence the thumbs up, because you go in with a low bar and it gets over it.
Yes, that's it. I think because I expected more, even though I'd heard like worse, I expected more. It didn't hit it, whereas maybe you expected less, and it jumps over the bar just.
Yeah. I thought it was fine, honestly. All right, spoilers, big time spoiler time. Should we start an award for the most obvious bad guy of all time? Who's the secret bad guy going to be? Is it going to be Ewan Grufford, the famous actor who's playing the new love interest and also running for mayor? He might as well walk around with a sign on it, like over his top. Die Hard 3 style, when Bruce Willis is walking around saying, I'm lads, I'm the baddie. Like, it's me.
Well, no, I completely agree. We discussed this beforehand, and it's actually on my notes now. My note for him was Mayor Obvious.
It's like, Will Smith, you got to pay attention more. It's so obviously him. He's the baddie.
And they keep spoon feeding it like it might be him, and then suddenly it might be him, and like, I'm full now. I understand. Like, I don't need more.
Yeah, it might have worked better if they'd have just revealed it from the start and waited for the characters, because you as the audience go, all right, I know exactly. You see him once, and you're like, I know who you're gonna be. They might as well have had him have a few more scenes revealing that he's the baddie, like just early on. So there's no surprise. You don't need the twist. You just need the characters to find the twist, potentially. That'll make the twist slightly more surprising. Like, for a while, I thought, this is so obvious there's going to have to be another twist. And then there wasn't. It was like, oh, it's him. It's the bad guy. The bad guy's the bad guy.
We've said this, and I've said this in previous podcasts. I sometimes like not having the extra twist. It doesn't always need the second twist. I think it was Boy Kills World, where it didn't need the extra twist.
Agreed.
And what? I'm fine with that. He's a bad guy. That's it. That's all I need. Sometimes people are just bad.
Huge agreement. As a big wrestling fan, when they're telling a story, the most obvious thing, and you're building to something, you don't need to suddenly do a big swerve in the big blow off match. Just have the good guy win occasionally. You don't need to keep going crazy. Just do the good story, nail it, and everyone's going to be great. So yeah, 100% agree with that kind of sentiment.
With you bringing up wrestling, and I apologize, I wanted to look at this beforehand. Was the McGrath's secondary henchman, was that Edge?
No. That guy was way too big to be Edge.
That's what I thought. I was really confused, but facially he looked very similar.
No, I know for a fact it's not Edge, because Edge's name is Adam Copeland, and he's not listed in the the thing.
I'm gonna not definitely keep looking whilst you talk.
Yeah, the main bad guy henchman is played by Eric Dane. So and he does a good job actually in his menacing role. I liked his acting in the part.
Yeah, the other guy is. I just clicked on him. Where the hell's he gone? You keep talking for a second.
Okay, we'll do. What I will say,
Derek Russo.
There we go.
Sorry.
You said at the beginning, and when I asked you, out of nowhere, you weren't expecting it. I asked you to tell me what the plot of the film was. You say that the cartel are setting up the captain to take the fall, and then the captain, in the film, the captain via video messages reveals that he's been like looking into them because he knows there's some bad eggs in the precinct and the area and stuff. Was any of the setting up the captain necessary? Because he was already dead from the third film. It's revealed in this one that they get him killed off. He was killed for different reasons in the last film, but he's dead. Like, did they need to continue? Did the bad guys? Is this a situation where the bad guys have set up such a complicated plan only to be foiled? But if they just never had done anything and just left it quiet, nothing would have happened. Because I really think it is.
Well, I think they were saying the only reason that they brought it up is they knew that there was like some dirty cops within Miami PD, and they needed to pin it on someone. But it's such a loose link to it. Like, it's such an unnecessary thread to pull. Like,
yeah.
And why him? Like, other than the fact he's dead, which they kind of mentioned, like he can't defend himself. But like, stellar reputation, like daughter's now a US Marshal, ties to very high up people. Like, this isn't just going to go away. Like, he seems like a very bad person to pick.
Also, he was mates with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, and they're the stars of the movie. They're not going to just sit down and let this happen. You got to think about it, bad guys. You and Grufford, what are you thinking about, mate? Honestly. What I will say before we wrap up, because I'm kind of done if you are.
Oh, I have one other thing.
Oh, okay, you go and then I'll do my last thing.
So it's about the kind of the same thing. So I'm not a big fan that every action movie recently has brought in the main guy has, for some reason, a panic attack. And the panic attack is a big issue. I don't understand it. I don't like it. If it's necessary, if it's relevant, absolutely fine. And I understand that Will Smith's character has it because he feels guilty for the captain's death. And then he has this little flash away and the captain says it's not your fault, and he suddenly feels a little bit better. I get that. But why does every character need it? It wasn't a thing, it hasn't been a thing, and why is it now a thing? And if people want to say, well, it's bringing sort of mental health issues into your action movies, absolutely fine, but then treat them the way they should be treated, rather than going, oh, you've got this panic attack going, I'm going to slap you until you're okay, or I'm going to barely look after you, or I'm going to quickly underplay it or downplay it. Like, maybe at some point show how you should deal with these issues if you're going to make it a point because of that, and if it's not because of that, why put it in?
Yeah, you raise a good point.
That's
because,
my rant.
No, you raise a good point, because ultimately all of these things are solved because they're the heroes and they just get over it. So
yes,
no, it's a fair point.
Yeah, like if you wanted to go through his like understanding how to live with it side of it, fine, cool, brilliant. But just hitting him until he's okay, you know, it's a funny section of the film and fine. But don't minimalize something that is an actual big issue.
It's a fair point.
Sorry, that's the end. My rant.
No, it's a very fair point. It's a good run. I liked it.
Thank you.
What I would say, Beardy, to wrap up is there's a big thing about soulmates in this movie, and a lot of comedies from that as well. What I would say is if we were to be classed as podcast soulmates, you were definitely the donkey in our previous life. Anyway, take us home.
Thank you for that. And thank you, everybody, for watching or listening, depending how you do it. Spotify, obviously, you are listening. YouTube, you get to see at least my beautiful face. Bobby has some work to do. It's fine. But you can still find him on Twitch as Bobby Android.
You can.
I am still not streaming yet. I'm working on it very, very, very slowly because I'm a busy man, apparently. I will be there. It is McBeardy. I'm McBeardy everywhere. What's he doing?
I'm going to be building this soon. Amy bought it. My amazing wife bought me this. I'm going to build it on stream. Come watch me build it.
Please do that.
Give some wives.
And harass him. Just harass him for the sake of it.
No, don't harass me. What the
heck? But yeah, we'll be doing this again very, very soon. I think we're seeing a film very, very soon.
Inside Out.
I am
seeing... Hopefully the next review.
Yes, Inside Out 2. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I will be seeing you face to face in like 3 days.
Yeah, see you in a few.
That is also fun. Mm-hmm.
We'll have some drinks. Anyway. It'll be grand. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Farewell.
Bye, everyone.